Hi, I'm Rob.
And I'm Rob.
And this is Ask Rob and Rob.
Hello everyone and welcome to Ask Rob and Rob, the show where you give us your wonderful questions and we do our very best to give you a good answer. Now we have multiple ways you can get involved in the show. You can have your questions answered here on the podcast, or you can become FAMO and get your question answered in the Sunday Times. Depending on what you want to do, you can find the links to both at propertyhub.net/ask. And that's exactly what Monica has done, and she's given us this question.
Hello, my name is Monica, and I am looking to start investing in property. And at the moment, I have 150k to invest. I'm thinking to buy a buy-to-let property at an auction so I can get some cash flow, which I need right now. My aim after is to look for investors to do bigger projects like a high-end HMO. I have experience on construction and design. My question is, shall I invest on the HMO now with the 150k plus investors, or shall I invest on the buy-to-let property? I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you so much.
Monica, thank you for this question, because what it allows me to do is give some advice I've given before, but I won't get bored of giving because I think it's so important. And this is all about goals. What do you want? So many people get infatuated with different strategies early on. And I understand why, because there's so many different ways to approach property, and you're struggling with that very thing right now. But when you get very clear on what you want from property investment, then it becomes a lot easier. So start off with something that maybe isn't finance related, because just having a finance goal isn't that useful because you can't attach any passion or desire to it. Like just throwing a number out there, like saying, I want £2 million. Well, what does that mean to you? So turn it into something. So if the number is £2 million, what would that mean to you? Does that allow you to retire? Does that allow you to look after family? Whatever floats your boat. So start off with the emotional thing that's going to drive you through the tougher times, and then put a financial number against it. Now, once you have that number, the next thing to do is to assess where you are today. So you've set the future goal, but then bring it back today and assess, okay, well, where am I right now? Do I have time on my side? What sort of funds do I have available? Where are my skill sets? And you've identified your funds in this question, and you've talked a little bit about your skill sets. But what I don't know is how much time you have, because one strategy you've talked about, which is getting a group of investors together, doing high-end HMOs through an auction, is a tricky strategy that could be very fruitful, but will require a lot of time and expertise, versus standard buy-to-let, which compared to most strategies is pretty straightforward. They couldn't really be much different. So which of the two you should do will depend on your goals, the future, and your current situation now. Now, it may be that your goals will dictate that you should try something more adventurous because you need to move at a quicker rate, but your current circumstances don't allow you to. So you have to adapt that strategy and maybe find something in between. And your strategy is your path between your current situation and your goals in the future. And that's why it's important to lay them all out. So set your goals, understand your present situation, and be honest with yourself where you are right now in terms of time, resources, and skills. And then you develop the strategy, which is the path between the two. If you do all that, I'm sure you'll make a great decision.
Yep, agreed. And so important to do that before you just dive in. So do take that advice, Monica. Okay, let's move on to our next question from Joshua.
Hello, Rob and Rob. Thank you very much for all the content. Been a long time listener of the show, so very much enjoy everything that you have to say and the knowledge that you impart. My question is around the rental reform, and particularly around the pets element to it. I, as a landlord, allow pets to come into my property, but I do like to vet what type of pets, no pun intended, come in. So I don't like animals that are too big, for example. Small dogs I'm fine with, but I'd rather not have great big dogs. Question is, though, what is a reasonable reason to withhold consent, and what would constitute unreasonable in your opinion? As I said, I allow pets, but is this going to mean that I have to allow every type of pet under the sun? So that is my question. Once again, thanks very much. Any comments or opinions? Always greatly appreciated.
Joshua, thank you for the question and well done for getting the pun in already so we can't. So this is a tricky area and the quick answer is I don't know because nobody knows. You're talking, of course, about the Renters Reform Bill, which was introduced to Parliament some number of months ago and is going to come into force at some unknown future date. And as is so often in matters when it comes to the law, it comes down to this word reasonable. You're not allowed to unreasonably refuse consent for a pet when this law comes in. But what is reasonable? So you might think it's unreasonable to have a massive dog in a studio flat. Is that unreasonable under the law? Who knows? You might think it's unreasonable if you've got multiple people sharing a property and one of them wants to get a pet because the others might not be happy about it. You might think it's unreasonable if there are already a few pets and they want to get another one and you think that that's just too many for the property. Are any of these situations unreasonable? We just don't know. So the government has promised to produce some guidance around this, but a lot of it will come down to cases that find their way in front of the new ombudsman that's being set up. So if you refuse consent and a tenant disagrees, they can take it to the ombudsman who can then make a decision. And the decisions they make will give us more of an idea about what they consider unreasonable withholding of consent to be. In practice, though, I wouldn't be particularly worried about this right now. Because, of course, you can still choose who you rent your property to in the first place. So if an applicant already has pets that you'd rather not have in the property at the point of applying, then you can just go with someone else. No problem at all. And then once someone's in occupation, to be honest, I've heard so many stories about tenants just getting pets without asking anyway. I'm not convinced that the ability to withhold consent is going to make that much of a difference, especially because the same bill is going to make it far more difficult to bring a tenancy to the end. So if they did get a pet without your consent and you would have withheld consent for that pet, and if you were sufficiently upset to want to end the tenancy over it, you then need to go to court and prove all this. It's probably just not going to happen. So Joshua, the answer to your question is there is no answer right now. There probably won't be an answer for several years. So in the meantime, just keep doing what you're doing, which is the same as what I do and Rob does as well, which is welcoming tenants with pets as long as those pets are suitable for the property.
Although I don't know if I'd welcome my dog, Rob. He's been right playful. Last Christmas, he had a load of Christmas lights. The vet was able to remove them and my dog was delighted.
I thought we'd got away with it this time, but no, you snuck in at the end.
I'm sorry. Okay, I promise next week, no more terrible dad jokes. But I do promise that we'll come back with your questions answered and hopefully delivering more value. And remember, on Sunday, in the Sunday Times, you can check more answers from us. So until those wonderful events occur, take care, have fun, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.